Part 4. The Race That Changed History. April 12, 1862, 6:07 a.m. between Kennesaw and Adairsville. The stolen locomotive, the General, screamed northward, wheels hammering the rails like war drums. Inside the cab, the air was thick with coal smoke, sweat, and adrenaline. Andrew stood at the throttle, jaw tight, eyes narrowed, his voice low but commanding. "Full steam, boys. Every mile we gain now is a mile they'll never get back." Behind him, his men were shaking from the cold morning wind, from fear, from thrill. None of them was sure which. But one thing was clear. They were finally deep behind enemy lines, and the South was waking up. 1. The chase begins. At Big Shanty, William Fuller, the conductor of the General, had been eating breakfast when the impossible happened. He watched his own train begin to roll away without him. At first, he thought it was a joke. Then the truth hit him like a bullet. "Thieves! Someone's taken the engine!" Fuller didn't hesitate. He didn't finish his meal. He didn't grab his coat. He simply ran. And that simple decision would turn him into a legend. The foot chase. The morning air burned in his lungs as he sprinted down the tracks after the disappearing engine. Soldiers gaped at him confused. Some ran after him, most just stared. A stolen train? In wartime? From right under their noses? It made no sense. Fuller tripped, stumbled, caught his balance, and kept running. He would not stop. Not for breath, not for pain, not even for reason. Because his train had been taken, and he meant to get it back. Back on board the General. Miles ahead, Andrews peered back down the line. "Any sign of pursuit?" Private Knight shook his head. "None I can see, sir. We're ghosts." Andrews allowed himself one thin smile. "Good. Then let's make this a morning the Confederacy will never forget." He motioned to 2 raiders. "Cut the telegraph line." They climbed onto the tender, boots sliding on coal dust, and swung their axes. Crack! Crack! The wire snapped like a violin string. Communication severed. Just as planned. But 20 miles up the track, the plan met its first complication. A southbound freight train was stalled on a single-track section of line. Knight spotted it first. "Sir, we can't pass." Andrews exhaled. He knew the timetable. He knew which trains should be where. But war changes everything. Schedules meant nothing in chaos. They slowed to a crawl. And that slow crawl was the first drop of blood in the water. The pursuers find a ride. Back near Big Shanty, Fuller had found help. A handcar. A wobbly, back-breaking, muscle-powered death trap. "Get on!" he shouted to 2 station workers. They heaved the pump handles as fast as they could. The wooden slats beneath them rattled. The wheels screamed. The men cursed. It was insane. It was stupid. It was heroic. They were chasing a stolen locomotive on a wooden seesaw. And they were gaining. 6. Andrews' men grow suspicious. Inside the General, the raiders began exchanging looks. "Sir, what if someone is following us?" Andrews didn't look up from the throttle. "They can't follow what they can't catch." "But what if they got a horse, a wagon?" Andrews allowed himself a breath. A horse cannot outrun steam. But he didn't know about the handcar. No one would have ever imagined the Confederates were insane enough to try such a thing. But desperate men do desperate things. 7. The block switch. Several miles ahead, Andrews signaled his men. "Prepare the switch. We have to route around that freight." 3 raiders jumped off before the engine even stopped. They sprinted to the switch lever and heaved it over with the metal clang. The freight engineer waved, confused. "Why is the general running northbound? Ain't she supposed to be south today?" Caleb said the line. "Orders from headquarters," and kept moving. Suspicion flickered in the freight engineer's eyes, but the raiders were already pulling away. 8. Fuller hits the first block. Minutes later, Fuller's handcar screeched to a stop at the same switch. He leapt off, panting, hands on his knees. "The switch is thrown." He stared down the line. They were just here. His eyes burned with determination. They're not getting away. 9. The thunder of the Texas. Far ahead, on a parallel line, slept a powerful Confederate engine, the Texas. Bigger than the General, faster, stronger, a metal predator built for speed. And Fuller was heading straight toward it. All Andrews needed was 1 hour of unbroken track. Just one. But the South was waking up faster than he ever imagined. 10. The telegrapher sends the first warning. A Confederate telegrapher at the next station saw the cut wire. He didn't need orders. He didn't need confirmation. He just ran to the nearest cavalry unit and gasped, "The Yankees have taken a train." Within minutes, riders were mounting horses. Within hours, officers were drafting orders. The great locomotive chase had begun, and Andrews' perfect plan was about to face the one thing no plan can defeat: human determination.